Hey guys, how's it going? This is Pasta Man coming at you today to give you a quick review about Legends of Runeterra. If you clicked on this review, you're probably wondering if you should invest some time in yet another card collectible game. And I don't blame you, because there's a lot of card collectible games out there, so I'll give you just the right amount of information so that at the end of the video, hopefully, you can make the right decision. I'll give you 3 pros and 2 cons about that game. My number 1 pro, and I think probably the biggest element you can take from this review, is that Legends of Runeterra might have just hit what I'm gonna say, the best of both worlds. What the best of both worlds means is that today you have a huge amount of card collectible games out there. I'm sure you played some. I played tons of them back to the 90s and Magic the Gathering, but then also digital card collectible games very recently, with 2 games really coming out and dominating the genre. One is Hearthstone and one is MTG Arena. Hearthstone is a much more casual game, not that it's not deep and that it doesn't have its share amount of fun. I enjoy both of these games, but Hearthstone is casual in the sense that you can probably play it 10 minutes per day and be fine. You can leave it for a few weeks, even a few months, and be fine. And also its gameplay at its core is quite simple. MTG Arena, on the other hand, has a very large card collection with expansions coming out every 3 months, 250, 300 plus cards every time. There's a lot of things to look at, there's a lot of things to think through, and even if you look at the gameplay itself, obviously it's much more complex. If you guys don't know about these games, Hearthstone is your turn, then the opponent turn, and vice versa, and back and forth. And then on MTG Arena end, you have much more intricate turns in the sense that there's always a potential to react to any card that the other opponent plays. So it makes for, let's say, 4-5 different sets of turns into one. So what Legends of Runeterra did, and I think that's what Riot Games really thought about when they put out that game, is that they hit right in the middle of both of these major games. And they took a little bit, as I mentioned at the beginning, the best of both worlds. They took the simplicity and the fun of Hearthstone with the complexity of the gameplay, the depth of the gameplay of Magic the Gathering Arena. As well, I think you don't need to necessarily invest, at least up to today. Again, we're at just 2 months of the beta that launched at the end of January, 24th of January. It seems that you don't need to invest necessarily a lot of time in Legends of Runeterra to have a lot of fun and enjoy most of the game. So, in a nutshell, they took both of the dominating games and they try to get most of the qualities of each of the game and hit right in the middle of that casuality versus complexity, which I think is very appealing to players that want a game that is quite deep, that has intricate gameplay, but is also a game that I don't have to spend 3-4 hours a day to be able to really master it and really take full advantage of it. My second pro is that the card collection is already greatly balanced. We're just, again, 2 months after open beta, and I've seen tons of CCG games that have interesting gameplay, interesting ideas behind, but the card collection is very unbalanced, and it makes it so that some cards are overpowered, some cards are absolutely garbage, and at the end of the day, you're not really looking at something where you have a lot of deck building potential, and so on and so forth. I think Legends of Runeterra, right from the get-go, they nailed it in terms of having cards that are relatively balanced and having different decks that can really work out, which is nice after this short amount of time. And then the third pro that I have on this game is the progression. I think this has been talked about quite a bit, but I will insist on the fact that it's definitely a game that gives you a sense of reward for almost each and every game you play, which is really nice. When you think of other games like Hearthstone, you might feel sometimes that you're playing games but not moving up in any way in terms of rewards or rankings. And I think Legends of Runeterra in that sense really is giving you a sense of reward, a sense of progression that is quite interesting. And again, this is all back to being really much of a free-to-play game, and a free-to-play game that really doesn't need any pay-to-win material. That's really something that Riot emphasized on, and you can really see when you play the game that you get most of the collection by just playing a relatively decent amount of time, but without having to put any buck into it, which is definitely nice. The two cons that I would have on the game are very much linked to the fact that it's still an open beta, and I'd say you're gonna have to look at that depending on the development of the game in the coming future. But my first con is just in general in terms of content. Obviously today we just have two game modes in Legends of Runeterra, one which is the 1v1 mode and one which is the, I would say, draft mode, or it's called expeditions. It's nice, but obviously we're gonna need much more content for players to be involved and really enjoying that game and investing time again into it. I think I'm personally a big believer and big lover of PvE. I think even when it comes to Hearthstone, they haven't raised the bar on PvE. I think this could. I always dream of a game that would link kind of RPG adventure type game to the card game to make it really a double dimension type of game. Obviously that would need some investment, but I think it would be a huge success. And so hopefully Legends of Runeterra gets into PvE. Hopefully they even raise the bar on it, and hopefully they give us other game modes so that really this game has a lot of spectrum, a lot of ways you can appreciate it. The second con is its user friendliness. Up to today, I'd say it's okay for a 2 months open beta, but you still have a lot of tweaks, a lot of things that needs to be looked at. I'll just give you one example. When you get a new card and you never had it in your collection before, and you go to your collection afterwards, you don't even see where it is. So new cards are not highlighted. It's just one example. I'm not going to give you 20 of them, but it gives you an idea that there's some tweaks that needs to be made in terms of its user friendliness. My conclusion here is that I think Legends of Runeterra has a lot of potential because it hits that middle range between the simplicity of Hearthstone, the complexity of MTG Arena, and the amount of time that players do want to involve into a game like this, which I think for MTG Arena, it's quite a lot of time. I think it filters a lot of their community. And Legends of Runeterra might have just hit what is just right in terms of complexity of gameplay and time investment. So if you think that all sounds good to you, do get involved, do take a look at the game and try it out. And I definitely hope and think that developments will be there in the upcoming future. We have a company called Riot Games, obviously developers of League of Legends, that should be out there to put new content, and I'm personally very much looking forward in the amount, volume, and quality of that content they will put out. But yeah, I'll give it definitely a plus on my end, but you can judge by yourself and leave some comments below, and let's meet inside the game. Talk to you soon, and bye bye.